Welcome to Baseball's Darkest Moments, the podcast where we dive deep into the scandals, controversies, and unforgettable moments that shaped America's pastime. I am your host, Michael Petruzzo. Baseball has been tarnished by numerous scandals that have impacted its integrity and public perception. From the 1919 Black Sox scandal, to Pete Rose's gambling ban, to the steroid era, recent science dating controversies, and spider tack, these incidents have led to stricter regulations and lasting consequences for both players and teams. While they've shaped the sport's history, they've also damaged its credibility, altered fans' perceptions, and even influenced Hall of Fame decisions. Today, we're revisiting one of the most notorious events in baseball history, the 1919 Black Sox scandal. Let's set the scene. It is the 1919 World Series, the pinnacle of the baseball season. Fans are cheering, players are giving it all to win the championship. Or are they? 8 members of a team conspire to throw the championship for a big payout. Let's step back in time 106 years and uncover the truth behind the Black Sox scandal. Before and during the 1919 Black Sox scandal, gambling was deeply intertwined with professional baseball. Bookmakers and gamblers often mingled freely with players, managers, and even owners. There was little deterrence. Many players were poorly paid by team owners, making them more susceptible to accepting bribes or participating in schemes for extra money. Hal Chase was often considered to be one of the most notorious corrupt players of his era. He allegedly offered bribes to teammates and opponents to fix schemes. He was accused multiple times by managers and teammates alike, including by Christy Mathewson and Jim Bagby Sr. Despite being blackballed eventually, he was never officially punished by Major League Baseball during his career. Another notable incident was Ty Cobb and Tris Peaker being accused of fixing the game. Just a week before the 1919 World Series, allegations surfaced that Cobb and Peaker had fixed the game between the Tigers and Indians, now Guardians. There was nothing proven at the time, but it added to the growing perception that the game fixing was widespread, even involving the league's most famous stars. In 1926, when Dutch Leonard allegedly presented letters proving the fix, Commissioner Landis accepted their resignations but did not pursue further punishment. Both players were eventually cleared and allowed to continue their careers, but it did cast a shadow over their reputations. The White Sox faced a major collapse in 1920. Evidence later suggested that the fix extended beyond the 1919 World Series. In the 1920 season, the White Sox were leading the AL pennant race by 3.5 games in mid-September. They then proceeded to lose 7 straight games, several in which involved suspicious underperformance by players connected to the 1919 fix and cost themselves the pennant. The struggles helped fuel ongoing investigations into the integrity of the team and the league. There were other players and allegations that circulated around this time. Some of them include Joe Gideon of the St. Louis Browns, found to know about the 1919 fix and failed to report it. He was banned in 1921. Gene Paulette of the Philadelphia Phillies was banned for alleged dealings with gamblers in 1920. Benny Call for the New York Giants, now the San Francisco Giants, was accused of stealing cars, but also rumored to have underworld ties. He was banned by Landis. Lee McGee of the Chicago Cubs admitted to betting on games and was involved in several fix allegations. And Henny Zimmerman of the New York Giants was implicated in game-fixing attempts with Hal Chase. While many of these incidents were swept under the rug or handled quietly, the Black Sox scandal became public, high-profile, and impossible to ignore. It threatened the very legitimacy of the World Series and the sport itself. The White Sox were a powerhouse team, led by legendary players like Julius Joe Jackson and Eddie Cicotte. Many expected them to dominate the Reds, but instead, something else happened. The Sox underperformed, made uncharacteristic errors, and because of that, ultimately lost the series 5-3 in the best-of-9 format. Why exactly did this happen? Because they were paid to intentionally lose the series. First baseman Chick Gandil, believed to be the ringleader of the fix, connected with gamblers, including the infamous Arnold Washteen. They devised a plan to intentionally lose the series in exchange for cash payouts. The players approached the gamblers with a plan to fix the series, even though the White Sox had the highest payroll at $88,461, $11,500 higher than the next closest team. Despite the players being paid well, they still felt some resentment about their salaries and turned to the fix. Other players on different teams at the time had the same feeling resentment about their salaries, and some other players were also accused of fixing games, but as far as we know, no other such egregious crimes were committed surrounding a World Series. The 8 White Sox players accused of conspiring to throw the series were 1. Eddie Cicotte, the A's pitcher who allegedly started the fix by hitting the first batter of Game 1 of the series, signaling the deal was in motion. 2. Shooter Joe Jackson, a legendary hitter whose involvement remains a point of debate. 3. Buck Weaver, who may have known about this scheme but refused to participate. 4. Chick Gandil, the mastermind behind the plan. 5. Swede Risberg, a shortstop involved in executing the scheme. 6. Happy Phelps, a talented outfielder. 7. Fred McMullen, a utility player who was included in the fix after overhearing the plan. And finally, 8. Lefty Williams, a pitcher who struggled in key games. Each of these players were promised significant money, but the payments were inconsistent, and some players never received the amount that was promised to them. Court records show that the players received somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000. Today in 2025, the amount of the payout would have been valued somewhere between about $1.3 and $1.9 million. Rumors of the fix began circulating even before the series ended. In 1920, an investigation was launched, and the players were indicted for conspiracy. White Sox owner Charlie Comiskey and others learned of the fix around Game 1 of the World Series, possibly even earlier than that, and hoped that this would never surface to the public. During the trial, key documents mysteriously disappeared, and despite their confessions, all 8 players were acquitted in 1921. But their acquittal did not mean they were off the hook. Newly appointed Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landers took swift action, permanently banning all 8 players from professional baseball, despite their acquittal in 1921. His decision was meant to restore faith in the sport and deter future corruption. All 8 players are still on MLB's ineligible list or permanently banned list today. The Black Sox scandal changed baseball forever. It led to the establishment of the Commissioner of Baseball, a position meant to uphold integrity of the game. The Commissioner put strict rules for gambling in place to deter something like the Black Sox scandal from ever happening again. Also, the scandal broke fans' trust in the game, casting a shadow over the integrity of baseball. It took some time for the fans' trust to be built back up. For Shooter Joe Jackson, the connection to the scandal remains a dark shadow over his legacy. Though he admitted to accepting money, he insisted he played to win. His World Series stats back up his claim. He hit .375, had 12 hits, and made no errors in the field. Many argue he should be in the Hall of Fame, but the lifetime ban has kept him out of the Hall to this day. The story of the Black Sox scandal lives on in books and films, most notably 8 Men Out. The book was published in 1963, the movie of the same name debuted 25 years later in 1988, which detailed the scandal for new generations.
The aforementioned parties are also accused of conspiracy to commit a competence game, an offense which, in this case, carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in jail and a $2,000 fine.
Does anyone have a statement to make before the final verdict is made?
I do, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Weaver.
I want to put on the record somewhere that I asked for a separate trial and I was refused. That evidence of my play in the World Series games was not admitted, and I never got a chance to take a stand on my own behalf.
It will be so noted.
Big setup.
Will the foreman read the verdict?
Yes, Your Honor. We find the defendants not guilty on all charges.
That was a bigger fix than the series.
Gamblers ain't baseball nothing.
You got your ball club back, Tommy.
I will make them pay for this.
However, new research done by the Society of American Baseball Research showed that some of the information detailed in the book is not entirely accurate. This was discussed in a podcast from Montpelier, Illinois. Here is a clip from that podcast.
So, Jacob, this story has been told for so many years, you would think there's nothing left to learn, but you're saying that's not the case.
A lot of people don't realize that the book Eight Men Out, which is how most of us first learned of the Black Sox scandal story, was written back in 1963, and we've learned a lot of new information in the ensuing half century about the 1919 World Series. And a lot of the new information that we've uncovered has changed our knowledge of the Black Sox scandal and its aftermath and the legacy of the fixing of the World Series. And so all of these new pieces to the puzzle have helped provide definitive answers to some old mysteries and debunk some of the old myths. And the Black Sox scandal continues to be a relevant part of the sports world in the 21st century, especially as Major League Baseball begins to open its doors to legalize sports betting 100 years later. So we're still learning more every day about what happened.
Clearly, some of the book was dramatized, and some content was just inaccurate based on substance or unclear evidence at the time. Regardless, overall, the book and the film put the scandal front and center for discussion about a controversial event in baseball history. Was it greed, desperation, or just a flawed system that led to one of baseball's greatest scandals? Whatever the case was, the 1919 Black Sox scandal remains a cautionary tale about the consequences of corruption in sports. The Black Sox scandal suspensions were a culmination of many different incidents of fixing games in the early 1900s, and dozens of other players from all over the league were suspended when questions about their integrity were disclosed. The suspension of the White Sox player virtually ended this issue for baseball at the time. Thanks for tuning in to Baseball's Darkest Moments. I am your host, Michael Petruzzo. Tune in to our next episode about Pete Rose betting on baseball. Until next time, play fair and keep the game honest.